welcome back to my channel. So this is a video where I set up the 800-page bullet journal. So I'm not new to this project. If you've been following me for some time, then you probably already know that I've already done this project before. And now I'm sharing this project with all of you. So I always used to get questions about the cover and where I found these books. All the items can be found off of Amazon. I basically just take gambles a lot of times with projects, and if they work, great. If they don't, also great, because at least I tried. But like this project and many other projects that I have, this all stemmed from the fact that I wanted to create something, and so I took a gamble on doing so. Also, I was highly inspired by another YouTuber who I do mention in this video, but I'm not going to butcher their name here because I don't know if I said their name right the first time. So yeah, we're gonna just bypass that. But the book or the binder that I'm using is actually from Disc Agenda. It is one of their clear covers. These covers, I don't know, the ones that they're selling on Amazon right now are really defective. This one in particular did not kind of line up. Even the snap didn't actually snap. So, I mean, you get what you get, but nonetheless, I did try measuring this down exactly the same way that I did the first cover that I created some years ago, and I followed all of the things that I did before. Only thing different that I did this time is, I think the first time that I did this, I used a box cutter and not a rotary blade. Either one is perfectly fine. Doesn't really matter which one you decide to use, but just keep in mind that depending on how you cut it down will depend on solely your blade, because apparently my rotary blade was kind of dull, and also my box cutter, so it didn't cut that well. So I had a little bit of wobbly lines. Also, the snap button right there was kind of in the way when I was using the rotary blade. So it caused such an issue. This whole setup right now in this segment was such an issue. But don't worry, I do work it out, so you will see all of that in a video to come where I've completely set it up and have used it. But nonetheless, that is that. Also to note, I used a power drill in this to make my holes this time around. The first time I did it, I used a hole punch, a single-handed hole punch. I would definitely recommend using a hole punch instead of a power drill. I've just used a power drill to be extra lazy and just take the work out of trying to squeeze for dear life to get a hole through this vinyl-like material. If you have an industrial hole punch, I would say use that. If you have a leather hole punch, I would say use that. But I just basically use whatever it is that I could get my hands on. And you'll see that I drill a hole through one of my mats. Not all the way, but pretty much close to. And also, it'll look very sketch when I use that power drill. So I know it looks kind of crazy and sped up, and it looks very dangerous and that I can hurt myself. But trust me, I'm perfectly fine. I've done this before. I know to be very careful when doing this. So yes, if you see all the crazy things that I did to get the holes into this cover, then please disregard disregard everything that you saw. But hopefully you guys enjoy it, and yeah, I'll be back to tell you about the next part, I guess. Okay, love, so here we are getting ready to use that power drill I just mentioned. So what you want to do is you want to take your marker, Sharpie, anything that you can easily get off the cover or cut a hole over, and you want to mark those holes. And then here I am setting up my infamous power drill. Oh my goodness, I'm so mad at myself that I did this. I actually did go over the holes with a regular hole punch, and that worked out very well. I will show that in the next video, but like I said, disregard how I'm doing this. I know it looks very sketch and just unsafe, and you totally don't have to drill holes or put holes into your cover like this, but this was just the route that I took to do this project. So again, do this at your own will. I'm not telling you to do it this way. I'm just telling you that this is the way that I went, and I don't know why I did that. See that hole there? It drilled a hole right at the tip of my cutting mat. So yes, don't do this. Don't do this. Definitely, if you do though, however, drill holes, choose a different way of doing it. But yes, so basically that's all you want to do is you want to drill some holes, and then after this I'm going to string in some elastic, and it's going to start to look like a TN cover. And voila, we actually have what looks like a cover now. I actually didn't mention, but I did take off the gold branding that was on the spine. I just used some rubbing alcohol. That didn't really work that well, so I definitely recommend nail polish remover if you have that. That works really well in removing the branding foiling on the spine of this. So yeah, that's it for the entire setup for the cover. So I'll talk about the book and all of that stuff in the next segment. Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So I am recreating the 800-page notebook, and I wanted to share a bit of the process with you guys. So I know there are some things that I didn't show in this video. Part of that is because I do already have a video up where I show how to make laminated pockets and bookmarks and things like that. But I wanted to specifically show you just how I cut down a basic clear A5 cover to fit around this book. Now, I had quite a few issues with creating the cover this time. I actually filmed the initial, like how I originally cut it down. I actually filmed all of that, but the only thing that I changed from last time and this time is that I used a power drill to make the holes, because for starters, I don't have a heavy duty hole punch, one made for like punching through like leather or anything like that. I don't own anything like that. So I have my standard little handheld hand punch, and then I have industrial punches for like ring binders, but outside of that, I don't have anything that can punch through this kind of material. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it with a power tool, only for the simple fact that um, there's just a lot of errors that can occur with a power tool. Like I drilled a hole through one of my cutting mats, and not all the way through, but like there's just a lot of errors. I kind of rushed doing all of that, but I wanted to at least throw it out there that there are quite a few ways to make holes. You can puncture them with something. You can use a hole punch. I did end up recreating the cover again, and this time I did use my hole punch. So hopefully my hole punch isn't broken, but so I wanted to at least show you. So this cover that I have on the book now, this was the one from the video, and as I don't know if the video showed very well, but it was kind of made too short. Like the cover in itself was already defective, and it didn't even close with the snap button because the measurements were off. And so when I actually cut this down, it was just, it was a tad too short. Even though I measured it out, it was still a tad too short because the cover in itself was already defective. I did go ahead and put or use my hole punch. I went over the holes again on this one, mainly because they were crooked when I used the drill. Even though I had lined them up, they still ended up crooked because of the cover, and also because the second cover that I got to replace this one actually got damaged. So I'll talk about that one. So this one here, I recreated. I recreated the cover to specifically fit this book, which would have given me a little bit more overhang because, for starters, this doesn't have any wiggle room. So uh, if I, if I didn't have half of, like these little pocket protectors on the ends, this book would get really, really badly damaged. But this would have given me the wiggle room that I was hoping for. And it didn't turn out that way because, well, for starters, I messed this one up myself. Just to make sure it's on the right side. So yeah, I messed this one up myself. I'm not really sure how well you can see, but I originally wanted to put patches on this like I had done for my Salty Katie cover that I had originally used on the Midori Hibino. If you are not familiar, I think I have a couple of pictures on Instagram with it, and also I think I shared it here on YouTube. But I wanted to do the same thing with this. I wanted to at least add a patch. Well, this particular patch that I got, it wasn't actually sticking down no matter what I did. It just didn't work. I tried permanent tape. It didn't work. I didn't want to fumble with permanent glue because I didn't want to get glue on my desk or anywhere else, because it can get a little bit messy, especially if you're trying to make something stick. So I didn't want to fumble with that. So in all honesty, the method, the whole, it just didn't work. Okay, it just didn't work. And so when I went to take it off, it actually left this imprint. I'm not sure if the camera is picking up too well on it, but it actually left an imprint of where the patch or the patches were originally placed. And I tried everything. I tried to rub it off, I tried to scrub it off. It did not come off. And so it just irritated me, and I did away with it because I didn't want to fumble or mess with that while, while trying to make it look perfect. So here we are. I'm back in this one, and as you can see, it is a tad bit shorter, but I'm just gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. Originally I strung a string down the middle just to hold in the middle, but this time I kind of strung it twice down the middle, so that way I had enough to wrap around, to go like this over the book, because this holds the book in a lot better versus just having one single strand in the middle. Also, because this is a glue bound book and not a stitched book, I really didn't want to break the spine on it to the point where it broke in half. So yeah, I thought that this would have been more secure than anything. So now that we've gotten over the specs of like what I did to get to this point, if I flip open. There are a couple of things that I did add to this to make it look the way that it does. So again, I have a video up on my YouTube channel, on my channel, that basically explains how I make these laminated pockets to go over the cover. I will link the video somewhere in the cards up there, or I will also leave a link down below in the description to the video where I demonstrate how to make these. But basically, I made a laminated pocket to go over the cover. So there's one on the front, and then there's also one in the back. The only difference this time is I taped them down. Last time I could slide them on and off. This time I just taped them down. And to see what that actually looks like, it basically just looks like this. And I just use packing tape to tape it down. Now, the reason why this one looks a little different is because I used vellum paper to go over that to make this look seamless, and then I added a adhesive pocket to the front. So what I actually intend to do with this one in the back is add this clear or this blank vellum sheet to basically cover this one, and I've got to measure this to go over. So once I do that, I'll come back. I've explained times before that I can't actually do a whole lot at my desk because of the space, how big it is and how claustrophobic it is, and also my hammer would shake a whole lot. So I'm going to cut this down and then I'll come right back. All right, so I am back, and now all I'm going to do is tape this to the back of that cover. Alright guys, so I'm back, and I did go ahead and put the vellum down in the back. I actually added another sheet of vellum on top of it because my blank vellum caught some lint and I could not get it out for the life of me. So I did go ahead and just cover that with a pattern vellum, and I like the way that this came out. So that's that. Last time I didn't do that because I had intended to slide pictures and stuff into these pockets. But yeah, this time I decided to tape them down so they wouldn't move. And I would just collage the front. So basically what I have now is just a bunch of stuff. I've got some tabs from Hobby Lobby, and these I actually made almost 3 years ago. These are like bookmarks, and I made them out of laminate and just cardstock. You can find these in that video that I will have linked somewhere in the cards up top or in the description down below. They're just like bookmarkers that I made out of just basic materials to basically act as like a page mark, but also one that you can see through, because I really wanted that when I did do this book the first time. So I don't know if I'll use these. I don't know, there's still options. I don't know if I'll use them. I do have something that I will use. And then I just have a bunch of like pictures and cards and things like that that I'm going to collage in the front. I'm just going to pick a few things and then just collage the ones that I really vibe with the color and all of that. Again, here we're seeing that the cover is slightly short, but that's just because I need to adjust the book again. There we go. So yeah, this cover is like the death of me, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I definitely wasn't buying another one after purchasing one and then ruining that one. So we're just gonna work with what we have. But nonetheless, I made this one in Canva. This is a card from our grandparents, and then I made this one in my Kodak printer album, or not album, app. And I'm just going to collage these pictures in the front here because these are the ones that I'm really liking for the front. So basically, I'm going to put this one here. And this is basically how I use these laminated like sleeve pockets, or not sleeve pockets, but these pockets that I make with laminate sheets to go over my, let's do this one first. My notebook, because I like to slide things in them. There isn't a lot of storage at all with this setup, so I try to maximize by at least adding some stuff that can be useful or decorative in some kind of way. I also mentioned that the first time I did this, I was highly inspired by Dakshina. I hope I didn't say her name wrong, but I was really inspired by her the first time that I ever did this because I just liked all her tip-ins and things like that, and I just really wanted to do that for myself. And this was how I was able to kind of create my own version of hers. And yeah, but all of this really stemmed from her. Just inspired by her. And this is how that looks. And then I put my cover over it, and then that's what we get there. So we get a nice little collage going on there. And then these other little photos that I have, I don't know, I'll probably sprinkle one like right here. I've been using this one a lot, and I think I need to give it a break. I don't really have any pictures of me and my husband on the front there. Those are just pictures of my son. So maybe I'll sprinkle like me and my husband here, and then I'll find something fun to like stick. I don't know. I'll find something fun to stick here, but we're going to leave it blank for the time being. So basically that's what I have there, and I'm just going to move these things off to the side. So these tabs I won't actually put on, but these tabs will go on as I do the months. So this is an 800-page notebook, if I hadn't already mentioned that, hence the title. And basically how I set this up is very, very simple. I just kind of figure out what it is that I want, what it is that I need, and I allocate pages to the month. So by that, I mean, right now I've gotten into the groove of doing the yearly overview. So I have pages for the yearly overview, and I figure out where I want these pages to go. So since this page is like the title page of who this book belongs to, then I would have these two pages going directly after. So I printed these out from Wonderful Planning. They're free printables, and I've cut them down. They were A5 size, and I just cut them, or I'm sorry, they were half letter, and I cut them down to fit in here because this is a 6x9. And basically these will go here. So I've allocated these two pages to this section of the book, and then the next section I have yearly trackers, again also from Wonderful Planning. And you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on this. This is supposed to be a cost-effective way to get an entire year's worth of journaling, planning, and notes in one spot, along with trackers and other things like that. So you want to keep it kind of cost-effective. Otherwise, it just takes away from the whole point of trying to get everything into one book without spending a ton of money. Well, that was the whole idea of it for me, at least. So I try to find free printables if I can. So I have this monthly tracker, and Wonderful Planning has a bunch of good options. Oh my god, I'm getting twisted up on my words, but she has a bunch of good options that you can use. And then this one is just another monthly tracker. And so I allocated like a couple of pages to that, and then we would fall right into our first monthly. Again, these are all half letter, and I just cut them down to size. But basically, I would just allocate where I want things to lay. And when I figure that out, I'll just stick the sheet in there, or I'll draw them out. You can also draw too. I used to do that a lot. But because I don't have a lot of time to draw out stuff, this works a lot better for me. So I actually got this printable from Scattered Squirrel. The Scattered Squirrel on a blog. Oh my God, I'm getting so tongue tied. Hopefully you guys are following me. But basically this is where April would start, and I kind of did this so that I'd have an April monthly, and then I can have this for like April task or monthly notes or whatever that I need to put here. You don't have to find a monthly like this, but I wanted one that I could scribble on. So I found one that was horizontal. And then I have my monthly tracker for April. And this is where, so like in my personal rings, I was doing all of my chore tasks. I would put that here. And then this is where the weekly would start, right after the tracker. So there's a couple of ways you could do this. You can do a week on one page where you have your week here and then you have your notes like the Hobonichi, or you can do a week going across, so splitting the page up, which is something that I did in a A6thology. It's basically when you split the week, or you split the page in half, and instead of putting your week down like this, your week is going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you have a section for whatever. I always like to do a section for meals and small tracking and then notes. And then followed by that, you can have your daily. So you can count out your daily pages. So you could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, and then maybe your note page for the week. And then you can go back into doing your weekly, week across, your tracking, meals, and notes. Or you could switch it up and you can do all of your weeks together. So week, and then week, and then week. And then you can do all of your daily pages together if you want to do that. I have fun with this. This is why I do 1 month at a time, because if I feel like I want to journal in some months, then I can allocate pages to that. So if I have my monthly, right, and then I have my tracker, and then last time what I had was I had a tracker and then I had a sleep tracker. So I might add a sleep tracker right here. And then this might be the title page to my weekly or something. Or I might transfer my sleep tracker over into this section. So there's 2 pages for my sleep tracker. And then that way I can start my week on a fresh page without having to do like a title page or something like that. Or, anything like that. There's so many different options that you have with using a blank notebook, because it just gives you free range to do whatever. And you don't always have to, it doesn't always have to be perfect, basically. What I'm probably going to do though is I'm probably going to put a clip here to just keep this from moving, because these are just like floating, and I'm probably just going to put a clip here just to keep them from moving. But those are some of the options. I wanted to share a little bit of the process of like how I set this up. I know it's not like some of these other setup videos. Again, I just don't have the space to do all of that stuff like I did before with my old desk and my old setup. But I hopefully I got the concept across as to how to do this. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to share like what I've done in here and all of that stuff. I'm going to make a follow-up video to this, but I wanted to at least initially share like the 800 page setup. So this video will probably go up first, and then probably soon following will be the actual setup of this notebook, if that makes sense. And then I got a question about whether or not I would use this for in conjunction with my other planners. I'm actually doing a quarter two reevaluation. So I know my disc is locked and set in stone. It's not going anywhere, but I'm getting antsy with my Hobonichi and also with my ring planner. So those two might disappear. But again, I am reevaluating what I need, my needs, and all of that stuff. And I'll share that with you guys when the time comes. But until then, I hopefully got this across to you, and I'll see you in the next part of this video real soon. Bye, guys.